His claim to fame was a young fur trader by the name of Alexis St. Martin. Now Alexis was cleaning out his own gun and he managed to shoot himself directly in the stomach. What an idiot, right? Now typically in the 1800s this would have proven fatal, but Dr. Beaumont was pretty good at his job and was able to save Alexis's life. However, he must have skipped sewing class where he left about a golf ball sized hole in Alexis's stomach. It was through this opening the doctor conducted a series of experiments, mostly consisting taking a piece of food on a string and dipping it in Alexis's gastric juices. That is the grossest thing you'll hear on the short day, but it will not be the grossest thing you smell. But through this process, the doctor is able to determine it was enzymes, not muscles that digested our food, which was previously believed at the time. I'll let that digest. Now next on our right, we're going to have the Stewart House Museum, and right next to that is the community hall that served as office and warehouse for John Jacob Astor's American Fur Trading Company. John Jacob was said to be the first American self-made millionaire due to the fur trade. The fur trade did kind of put Mackinac on the map. In the summer of 1822, over $3 million worth of furs were traded here on the island, which is equivalent to around $80 million today. The fur trade died down in about the 1830s when it moved west, and then tourism became our main source of income for the island. Now next on our right-hand side, we're going to have the courthouse and police station. Behind the big bay doors on either side of this building, it carries one of Mackinac Island's deepest and darkest secrets: motorized vehicles. We do have emergency and maintenance vehicles here on the island, all that have a permit from our city council. We have about 6 police officers that stay here all year, with more state police on duty during our busy summer months, and we have a volunteer fire department. Next on our right, we're going to have the Benjamin Blacksmith Shop. They do live metalworking demonstrations. And right next to that, we're going to have the Agatha and Edward Biddle House. Now, this is said to be one of the oldest residences here, with parts of the house dating all the way back to 1780. Agatha and Edward put a huge down payment of $100 walks down on this house back in 1830. Admission to Fort Mackinac gets into all the historic buildings here on the island, as well as the blacksmith shop. Colonel, what is up, man? Now, y'all, there are 17 fudge shops here on the island. And if you were to get a free sample from every single one, you're going to end up eating over 2 pounds of fudge. That's a lot. You'll then find yourself to the right at our Mackinac Island Medical Center. We have one doctor, a full staff of nurses, and I'm sure you guys can see behind that bay door that we do have an ambulance. As much as we love our friends Eric and Colonel here, they don't go very fast. You do not want to have to rely on them as your mode of transport when it comes to life or death, and you especially don't want mouth-to-mouth from them. Our medical center hours will be Monday through Friday, 9 to 4. We ask you guys to plan all your medical emergencies accordingly. We really appreciate it. On a real note, of course, we have emergency service available 24/7. Now next on the left here, y'all are going to see that clear and yellow stand next to that bench. And as you look beyond it, you will find the office. That is for our town crier, which is also my nickname. I'm very emotional. It's one of the cheaper souvenirs you're going to get here on the island for just $1.50. It is our local newspaper. They publish once a month in the winter months and once a week in our summer months. Now, as you can imagine, there's not really much to write about here on the island. You know, just about the horses, the lilacs, such. Well, like last week, a horse lost its shoe and it made the front page. Very interesting. It was very interesting. Speaking of shoes, the boys here actually just got a fresh set of shoes yesterday. They're feeling pretty dapper. Look at them. They have a little extra pep in their step. Kind of making them go slow right now because the Colonel's going to rest. Alright, boys, let's try to pick up the pace, shall we? Oh, there goes Eric. Now, to our right, behind this little white fence, we have Chambers Livery Stable. It is the oldest livery stable on the island. The Chambers family have been housing horses for about 5 generations now, and also owns our company. Now, our tax used to house out of this stable. However, we've since outgrown that by about 5 times the size. This stable now houses a horse horses and all of our wedding carriages. We have anywhere from 200 to 300 weddings here every season on the island. Not sure how many divorces. But there was one day last year where 11 took place in just one day. Weddings, not divorces. Now we are currently on Cadott Avenue and is affectionately named as Lilac Lane. During the first couple weeks of June, all these trees around us are at their peak with our lilacs. We have the highest concentration of lilacs than anywhere else in the country, with about 68 different varieties, 18 different colors, ranging from light purple to dark purple to pink to magenta to white. We even have multicolored and yellow. We typically have our Lilac Festival that second week of June. It's a week long and ends with a parade. Now if y'all take a look to the left there, y'all are going to see the sign for Jack's Livery Stable. If you think what I'm doing looks pretty cool and you want to try it out for yourself, you would head on down there, for they rent out drive-yourself carriages by the hour. So with about 10 minutes of training and an insane amount of luck, you too can look like me. Now on a real note, 10 minutes of training is definitely all you need with these horses, for they are very highly trained. They know pretty much all the roads here on the island. They literally drive themselves. We'll send you with a horse, a carriage, a map, and you are on your way. Coming up next on our right-hand side, we're going to have Little Stone Church. It's little, it's stone, and it's a church. Now it was built in 1904 out of limestone quarry here on the island. Those stained glass windows were imported from New York City, courtesy of Tiffany & Co. Now I don't know if you guys can notice, there is a small layer of plexiglass over those stained glass windows. That is because not only is this area a big wind tunnel in our winter months, with winds reaching upwards of 65 miles per hour or more at times. Another reason we have that plexiglass in place is because someone thought it was a great idea to build a golf course next door. Yeah, those windows are said to be valued at over $1 million, so we must protect them at all costs. Now if you take a look to the left in the distance, y'all should be able to see the Mackinac Bridge, aka the Mighty Mac. It is the largest suspension bridge in the Western Hemisphere, spanning 5 miles anchorage to anchorage. Started construction in 1954 and then completed in 1957. It connects Michigan's upper and lower peninsulas. Good job, boys. Alright, coming up next, to the right, you're going to look up on that big hill. Y'all are going to see a big, beautiful White House. Now that is where Eric, Colonel, and myself live. That is our house. We'll be hosting brunch tomorrow at 11:30. You guys are invited. I'm just kidding. We're just broke college students. We're not living that large yet. That is the Governor's Summer Residence. It was built in 1902 by a wealthy Chicago attorney. He sold that house to the state of Michigan for just $15,000. He then added in the contract of the house that if the state were to ever sell this house again in the future, we have to sell it to a direct family member or descendant of his for the $15,000. Now to put this number even further in perspective, because that's already fairly cheap for any sort of house, houses on our East Bluff tend to range anywhere from $2 to $12 million. House was appraised a few years ago for about $3.8. Features 11 bedrooms and 9.5 baths. It is the honor of any current Michigan State Governor to take that as his or her vacation home. Alright, y'all, coming up to our left is what you all came here to see. It is one of the most iconic Mackinac Island sites. There's absolutely no way you can miss it. It is jaw-droppingly gorgeous. It is the one, the only, the beautiful, the world-renowned, wait for it, statue of a pineapple. Now that is the international symbol of hospitality, and there's another joke I can make here, but I won't. I am sure it is what you all came here to see, though, a pineapple statue. Good job, boys. Oh, and there's the Grand Hotel. Now, does anyone know or have any guess on how long it took to build the original structure of the Grand?
50 years.
50 years is a little less than that. Yep. Less than 40.
30.
Less than 30.
15.
Less than 15.
10.
Less than 10. Less than 5.
2.
Less than 2.
1.
Less than 1.
0.
Less than 6 months. It took just 93 days.
No.
Sure did. It did include that 660-foot length front porch, about 180 rooms, the banquet hall, and the ballroom. I know what you guys are thinking. 93 days. How did they do it? And you know, for starters, back in 1887, labor laws did not quite exist yet. There's a large staff of 600 people with at least 300 people working on it at any given time. And there was a big motivator involved, that motivator being money. Now, y'all, they kind of put the carriage in front of the horse. They booked out the entire Grand before construction had even started yet. So they were in a little bit of a time crunch. The bosses tell the workers that if they complete the Grand within 90 days, they're all going to receive a $1 million bonus to split, which back in 1887, that's equivalent to $24 million today. Everyone was on board fairly quickly, and they start working day and night as fast as they could, maybe a little too fast, because not only are they building from the outside in, there are 2 teams starting from end to end and meeting in the middle. There are measurements in the Grand that are off by about half a foot. Now they are right on track for finishing within those 90 days, until one of the workers overheard the bosses talking. They were saying that they had no intention of sharing a cent of that bonus with any of them. They were just going to pocket it for themselves. Now this obviously made people pretty upset, so over the course of the next few days, some really strange things began to occur. Some pools mysteriously went missing, and some walls mysteriously fell down, and a very, very mysterious fire started. Now, despite for the bosses, the workers took just an additional 72 hours, and no one saw a cent of that bonus. Now, there are 2 lessons to be learned from this story. Lesson number 1, and my personal favorite, just pay your workers. And lesson number 2 would be to keep a better secret, especially if there is a large amount of money involved. Now, we have expanded since the original 180 rooms. We now have about 390. Each room is individually decorated, and not one looks alike. Y'all could stay in the Grand for over a year and be in a completely different room every time. Now, we did have a couple of movies filmed here at the Grand. Does anyone know any of them? Somewhere in Time. It was filmed in 1979. It starred Christopher Reeves and Jane Seymour. Gone with the Wind was not one of them. Does anyone know the second movie?
No.
Nope. Well, I don't know either. I'm just kidding. It was called This Time for Keeps. It is a much older movie filmed all the way back in 1946. It starred Esther Williams and Jenny Durante. Now, to the right-hand side, we are passing the Grand Hotel's Golf Pro shop. Do we have any golfers on board? Yes. Yes? I hate golf. So they can sell all your golfing needs, whether it be any sort of apparel, accessories, or gear. And I heard they sell their socks sets to 3 instead of pairs of 2, just in case you get a hole-in-one. Guys, I'm here all day. I still have to make that joke at least 2 more times. Now, this is the first half of the Grand Hotel's golf course, the Jewel. We call this 9 the Grand 9, because it's by the Grand. And the other half is way back in the woods. We call it the woods. It is the only golf course in the world that requires a 25-minute horse-drawn shuttle ride to the other half. Now, still on the subject of the Grand, over the hill to the right, you're going to see a big red and green structure. That's the Grand Hotel Stables. Now, I am going to stop the boys behind the trees, so if I cut off anyone's line of sight, I do apologize. But we're by the golf course. If any stray golf balls come our way, they'll be fine, but you guys won't, so duck. I will not be taking my chances with these guys just because I've seen how people play on that course. The last thing I want is the poor Eric or poor Colonel here getting touched with a golf ball. Now, the Grand Hotel Stables are free of charge to go into when y'all are up at Surrey Hill. I totally recommend checking those out. Not only are there some horses housed in there, but it serves as an antique carriage exhibit, and again, free of charge. I counted about 20 carriages the last time I went in there, and out of all of those, only a handful are under 100 years old. The rest are well over that. They're all in mint condition, rolling stock, meaning if me and the boys wanted to take one for a spin, we totally could, but we do value our jobs. We're not going to do that. They are Percherons. Now you guys are probably noticing I am giving my friends Eric and Colonel here some breaks as we make our way up this hill. Horses, just like you or I, they do get a little winded walking up this hill in one go. I know I do at 6:30 every morning. Horses are also cardiovascular, just like us, so their heart rate picks up just a little bit. Us as drivers, it is our responsibility to make sure these guys get the breaks they need and deserve along the way. Now that being said, this isn't terribly hard work for these two. Eric here is about 2,100 pounds and Colonel here is easily 2,300 pounds. Each of them can easily carry up to 3 times their own body weight, but if need be, up to 6. They are very, very strong. That being said, the boys here could easily pull about 13,000 pounds together before it even gets the slightest bit difficult, which this carriage comes nowhere close to. As for resting here, my foot is applied to the brake. The weight of us or this carriage is not resting on the boys whatsoever. We're freestanding and we are not rolling backwards downhill. Their breathing looks good, so we're going to move on. Come on, boys. Now, I am sure you guys can tell by their appearance that not only are our horses very well cared for, but more importantly, they are very, very well fed. Now, you will never see a skinny horse here on the island. Our horses have access to a 24/7 buffet, as well as 3 gallons of oats a day, 1 for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They receive salt minerals, as well as a salt lick in their stalls. Any additional crude proteins or supplements they might need, we do provide. And us as drivers, we are responsible for our teams every day, and we love to give our horses treats. The way to a horse's heart is definitely through their stomach. And if giving these guys treats helps them work with me a little better, I'll do it. They're much bigger than I am. Now, of course, horses love apples and carrots. One thing you might not know about horses, though, they have huge sweet tooths. They love anything with sugar. Tootsie Rolls, Jolly Ranchers, Mackinacs, Twizzlers, Peppermint, Starburst, Fruit Snacks, Fruit Roll-Ups, granola bars. They also like potato chips. They will pretty much eat anything. Good job, boys. Eric. And this is where all the magic happens. This is the Mackinac Island Carriage Tour Stables. This is where I arrive to work and clock in at 6:35 on the dot every single morning. Such a great employee. You guys should totally tell my boss that. Now, as I mentioned, as a driver, I am responsible for my teams every day. So this morning with my other boys, Chuck and Doc, I brushed, bathed, and harnessed them this morning to make sure they looked good. And at the end of our shift today, I'll be responsible for unharnessing, bathing, and brushing Eric and Colonel here. I'm then going to clock out. I'm going to go home. I'm going to bathe and brush myself because I smell just like Eric and Colonel at that point. Now, these guys really have a good time off-wise. As I mentioned, I do receive 2 teams a day, so each team is only working anywhere from 2.5 to 4.5 hours tops a day. They get 2 to 3 days off a week and 6 months off out of the year. We own 3 80-acre farms up in Pickford, Michigan, is where a majority of our horses go in the winter months, just because it is cheaper to send them to the food than it is to send them food here in the winter. They get to relax and horse around for half the year, and then they come back to us. We only keep about 18 horses here in the winter months, just some of our dray teams and our taxi teams. Our taxi does run year-round for the only 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week, 365-day-a-year radio dispatch, horse-drawn taxi service in the world.
What generally is Pickford?
It's in the Upper Peninsula. It's kind of actually not far from where I live, not too far from Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan.
Spend the winter up there.
Yep. What we do is we use the Arnold Freight Cargo Ferry. We load them into the horse trailers, put the trailers on the ferry, bring them to the mainland, hook them up to trucks, and off they go. We try to make it as seamless and stress-free as possible. And if you look at the right-hand side of this barn in front of us, y'all are going to see our veterinarian's office. It says veterinarian's office. We have 5 rotating vets with at least 2 at any given time. Does anyone remember how many people doctors we have? We have 1 and 5 bets. You guys can see where our priorities lie. We do care about these guys very, very much. So if you find yourself injured or ill outside the medical center hours, you're going to find yourself here. Now this first barn right here is our taxi barn, and believe it or not, all of our taxi horses live in there. Now as you see those horses around the island, you will notice they're much smaller compared to Eric and Colonel here. That is because they're one of our bigger draft horses bred with some sort of standard horse breed. Not only are they able to pull pretty heavy amounts of weight, but we allow these horses to trot. We never trot our bigger horses like the boys in front of us too often. Due to their size and their weight, it can take a toll on their joints in the long run. That's the thing we want for these guys. Whereas our taxi horses are only weighing in at 12 to 1,600 pounds. Their joints can withstand all that trotting. Good job, boys. This red wagon here is super cool and interesting. We actually offer free rides at the end of the night. We call that our digested hay ride if anyone is interested. You guess what we fill that with. Now this barn in the middle, we also creatively named Middle Barn. This houses our teams of 3. They are the largest horses we have here on the island. They pull the big 35 passenger carriages like that one right there, and these horses are weighing anywhere from 1,900 to upwards of 2,500 pounds. And this last barn here is Big Barn. This is where Eric, Colonel, and all of our teams of 2 live. They all pull the carriages like this one, and these horses are weighing anywhere from 1,800 to 2,300 pounds. Good job, boys. Now behind Big Barn here, you're going to see our wash rack. Our horses receive 2 baths a day. A belly down in the morning to make sure they look good for you guys, and a full body at the end of their hard work day. And if y'all were to continue up that outside road about a quarter of a mile, it leads you up to our residential area, Harrisonville. Us here on the island, we just call it the village. We have about 500 year-round residents. Most of them live up there. It's a nice area of the island because not only is it nice and quiet compared to the busyness of downtown, but it also tends to stay 10 to 15 degrees warmer up there. They sit in a valley, so it blocks them from those super cold and harsh winter winds. Now the boys are just going to have another rest here before I take y'all up to Surrey Hill. Now is a great time if anyone has any sorts of questions. So it could be about horses, Mackinac Island, my personal life. Good job, boys. I am just finishing my associates at my local community college right now. So once I finish my associates, I'll be looking into some universities to apply to finish my bachelor's. Social and digital marketing. So nothing related to horses unless Carriage Shores wants a social media manager. I would love to do that.
You stay on the island?
I do. I'm here May through October. My housing is right next to the police station conveniently.
Troublemaker?
No. Well, not just me.
Is your housing included in your job?
They take a small deductible out of your pay each paycheck. It includes housing and 3 meals a day. This is my 2nd season with Carriage. I think so. I do really like this job. It's very rewarding work. I love the horses. I love meeting new people and sharing all the information I know about Mackinac Island, which is way too much. Yeah. System overload. So, obviously horses existed before vehicles. We were doing fine with the horses before cars were invented. We tried introducing cars on the island, and these guys didn't like it very much. And, you know, we're such a small island, there's really no need for cars, besides our emergency vehicles and such. So we just kept it that way. Oh, yeah. Alright, y'all, up here at Surrey Hill, you guys have as much time to spend up here as you wish. Those 3-horse carriages typically come by every 15 to 20 minutes, so it's whenever you're ready. A few things we have to offer up here. We do have those grand hotel stables free of charge to go into. As mentioned, serves as a free antique carriage museum. We also have our working blacksmith shop, Forge of Memory, Chad Osborne and his crew could forge all stuff out of a horseshoe or a farrier file. And for those of you that purchased our Wings of Mackinac combination tickets, we do have the Butterfly Conservatory. 75 species of butterflies and tons of plants to look at. Now this big white building at the top of the hill is Surrey. Y'all are going to go through this big white building or around the side to the back. There you're going to get on a big green and white carriage. It is pulled by 3 horse butts instead of 2, and they're going to take you on the second half of your tour. And again, you will catch this second half of the tour at the back of the big white building. Inside this big white building, there are restrooms, refreshments, and gift shops. Now to take a quick photo, I ask no one tries to exit the carriage quite yet. It is for your safety. We're going to roll up about 20 feet to some big metal stairs, and we're all going to exit from the right-hand side and right-hand side only. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed your tour today. I know I did. You guys are an amazing group. You laughed at most of my crappy jokes and had some good questions as well, which I always have fun answering. Now, if you guys enjoyed your tour today, my name is Jamie. If you guys did not enjoy your tour today, my name is Tyler. And the boys here did such a great job getting us around today. Everyone say, great job, boys.
Great job, boys.
They always have a blast showing you guys around the place they call home. Now, if you wanted to thank our friends Eric and Colonel today, they did tell me they do accept tips in the forms of apples, carrots, or cash. However, Colonel here does have a little bit of a gambling issue, so I'm going to hold on to that for him. You need to understand that tips are for treats and tuition, not nefarious activities. Now, on a real note, ladies and gentlemen, your generosity is always appreciated. It's never, ever expected. Me and the boys just hope you guys enjoyed your tour today. Again, as we stop here, while Tim takes our photo, no one attempts to exit the carriages. For your safety, we will let you know when you are good to go. Good job, boys.